you can consider this video your ultimate guide to the coolest sparkly lip balm sticks of 2025. We're going to take a very close look at each of the formulas, the packaging, and swatch them on the arm and try them on. First, we have the Glass Load Lip Melts from Kidos. This is a brand new formula. Kidos hasn't come out with a new collection in so long. Then we have the Sparkly Lip Balms from Joocyee. Joocyee is a sea beauty brand that I've really come to know and love over the past couple of years. This formula is called the Glaze Rouge Lip Balms. Next, of course, I have to mention the Fenty Gloss Bomb Shimmer Sticks. These came out very early in the spring. And after this release, we've seen several other sparkly lip products come out from Fenty this year. And last but not least, we have a formula from a brand new brand called Hyru. Let me start off by talking about the formula from Hyru. This is a brand that I'm pretty sure you may not have heard of, but I'm so excited about these that I just had to include them in this video. This product is called the Nebu Balm. They come in 4 shades that were basically meant for the alt beauty lover. But I do also feel that these shades are really quite wearable. You can see as I'm swatching them, they've got a very buildable opacity. You can wear them as a light wash or you can build them up. The balms are not overly shiny on the lips and they have a decent staying power. They're also unscented and the sparkle feels undetectable when you're wearing it on the lips, at least to me. At this point, we have 4 shades and look at this packaging. It's very sleek. I love the really strong magnetic closure. And from Joocyee, we have the Glaze Rouge lip balms. I'm just going to tell you a little bit about the packaging and what these offer. They have 4 shades in this line, and I was really pleasantly surprised to see that they included some pretty fun shades, including this kind of light blue balm that has pink sparkles. These are unscented, just like the ones from Hyru. I would say that these ones are a little bit glossier in their finish. The sparkle is undetectable in these ones when you wear it. You can build up the intensity and opacity. And the exterior to all 4 shades looks the same. It has this sort of lavender finish with sparkles. Probably one of my favorite shades. From Kidos, we have their brand new Glass Load Lip Melts. These came out just within the past month or so. I was so incredibly excited to have a new release from Kidos, and then even more so to see that it was fun, it was sparkly. And I would say of all of the products that I'm talking about, this one has sort of the most innovative packaging in that you can customize the capsule and kind of decide what pattern you want on the outside, and it's refillable. And the refills kind of click in to the capsule with a strong magnet. They have 12 shades in this line, 5 of which are sparkly, and the sparkly ones are very cool iridescent shades. And by the way, these are unscented and I don't feel the sparkle on the lips. The last formula that I'm going to talk about is from Fenty. This is the Gloss Bomb Shimmer Stick. They launched with 6 shades in this range and have subsequently come out with 2 shades, though the How Many Carats I believe is limited edition, and they also have 1 shade that you can only get in a holiday kit, and it's quite a large kit. These are actually scented. They smell quite sweet. They do have their classic neutral tones in this range and a couple of more unique shades. The first is Icy Amethyst, which is what I'm showing here. And they also have an orangey coral tone that's called See You in Maui. What I really like about this packaging is that the exterior matches the interior shade. Okay, let's start off by going through the individual shades from Hyru Beauty. As I mentioned, we have 4 shades in this line. This brand has just launched, and I do anticipate that they are going to come out with more shades. Of all of the brands, personally, I think these are the coolest shades. We have some moody tone shades, but then we also have some lighter, more ethereal shades. First, we have the shade Proteogenic, and I would describe this as a sort of light purple with a hint of blue in the base as well, and it has sparkles that are silver, blue, and purple. These feel quite comfortable on the lips. They have a decent last power, and they aren't particularly glossy. They do feel more balmy than glossy. Next, we have the shade Nymphaea. This one has more of a purple red base. It's got a touch more depth to it, and it also has purple, blue, and silver sparkles. On me, this one is a bit closer to my skin tone. I would probably prefer to wear that first shade with a lip liner. The third shade we have is called Halcyon. This one has more of a brown base. It definitely has more depth to it, and you have a very pretty blue sparkle throughout. So this one definitely has the resemblance of a blue-brown duochrome shadow. As many of you know, I've been very into this kind of shade recently, so I was excited to see a shade like this included in the line. The fourth and final shade in this line is called Void, and this is essentially a black balm that has this kind of reddish purple sparkle throughout. Love that we have a deeper and moodier shade in this line, but I would say that if you're somebody who's intimidated of black lip products, this could be a good option because you can wear it so sheerly, and you can also build it up for a higher opacity. And here's what all four shades look like swatched to my arm. I believe at this time the only place that you can purchase these balms are on the brand's website, and I will of course have that linked in the description box. Okay, next we're going to talk about these Glaze Rouge lip balms from Joocyee. This is the shade Aqua Blush. It has a pale blue base and very strong pink shift. On me, it reads as a light pinkish purple. Pretty shade, and in general, I'm very happy to see Joocyee dabbling more in fun colors. Next, we have the shade Hollow Haze. I would consider this my perfect day-to-day shade. It has a sheer reddish purple base and blue purple sparkles. I also want to mention that Joocyee and Fenty's formula are the most similar to one another. They don't necessarily have a lot of shade overlap, but in terms of the formulas themselves, they are definitely the most similar in that way. The Joocyee sparkles are a bit smaller. The Joociee's also unscented and slightly more affordable, I want to say by around $4 or $5. Okay, and the third shade that I have in this line is called Midnight Glint. I do believe there's one other shade that's more of a neutral kind of warm mid-tone brown, but this one is more of a rich warm purple. It's a really pretty shade and it has a decent amount of depth to it. It's got lighter purple sparkles. There's no corresponding shade in the Fenty formula. The closest would be something like Fuchsia Flex. And here is what the three shades I just talked about look like swatched on my arm. I think this line did really well for Joocyee. I truly hope that they decide to expand this range more next year and include some more fun shades, of course. Okay, next we're going to get into the Kidos Glass Load Lip Melts. And these shades from Kidos are mostly iridescents. They have some very interesting and colorful reflex in them, and it makes them extremely versatile. You can layer these over different color lip liners or base lip colors to get all different types of effects. The formula itself, to me, is the glossiest of the four that I'm talking about. Here's what the shade Prismelt looks like fully applied. Cypher is also a clear glaze, and it has green, silver, and golden sparkle. And just like all of the formulas that I've talked about so far, you can wear this as a sheer wash or build it up for a more intense sparkle. And here is what the shade Cypher looks like fully applied. Next, we have the shade Cheat Code. This is also the same type of clear glaze, and you get pink and gold and green sparkle. I also feel like a lot of these shades pair very well with their cult classic iridescent highlighters. And here is what the shade Cheat Code looks like fully applied. Lunar Token is what I would consider to be the most muted and neutral of the shades. It has a sort of pale, cool tone pink base with pink and silver sparkles. And here's what Lunar Token looks like fully applied. Next, we have the shade Pixel Storm, which is more of a bubblegum pink, but a very sheer bubblegum pink, and it has pink and silver sparkles. It has a touch more brightness to it than the shade Lunar Token. And this is the fifth and final sparkly shade from Kidos. And here is what Pixel Storm looks like fully applied. Typically I avoid shades that are this tone of pink, but it's sheer enough that I actually really like it. Here's what all of the shades of the Glass Load Lip Melts look like swatched to my arm. The 5 sparkly shades are closest to my elbow. Now we're going to go through and swatch the Gloss Bomb Shimmer Sticks from Fenty, starting off with Fenty Glow. This also happens to be the very first shade that ever came out in the original Gloss Bomb. It's a very neutral and day-to-day friendly shade, and I do think it's one that will flatter a wide range of skin tones. Next we have the shade Flamingo Fling, and this one definitely is much more of a bubblegum pink. I do want to mention that I wasn't overly sensitive to the feeling of sparkle in these, but I have heard a number of people tell me that they can feel it, and I do think it's a bit more obvious than the other shades that I've talked about so far. Fussy is more of a mauve toned pink. Next we have the shade See You in Maui, and this one is more of an orange coral. It's one of the more unique shades in the line and one of the more colorful ones. I definitely haven't seen a shade like this in one of the other lines, and I do feel like it's one of the standout shades in terms of its uniqueness. And next we have Icy Amethyst. This is a kind of light lavender purple, and it has purple and silver and blue sparkles. The purple in this is quite sheer. You're not going to get a lot of pigment from it, but it is detectable. Next we have the shade Hot Chocolate, which is a deep cool tone brown, and it has multicolored sparkle. Personally, this is one of my favorite shades, and I do like that you get a fair amount of pigment with this one. It's especially flattering if you have a medium to deeper skin tone, in my opinion. And here's what those 6 shades look like swatched my arm. And I did want to briefly mention the additional shade that came out. This is How Many Carats, which a lot of people will recognize as being the OG Diamond Bomb shade. It's a sheer glaze that has a diamond sparkle effect, and the sparkle particles themselves are silver, pale green, and pale pink. If you had wanted the Diamond Milk shade or ran out of the one that you already had, this could scratch that itch because it gives a very similar effect. All right, now that we've had a chance to go through everything, I want to close up with some wrap-up thoughts. We've talked about 4 formulas today. We talked about the Gloss Bomb Shimmer Sticks from Fenty, the Glaze Rouge Lip Balms from Joocyee, the Hyru Lip Balms, and the Kidos Glass Load Lip Melts. So the ones that I think are formula-wise the most similar are the Fenty and the Joocyee. I do think the shade offerings are different. They do, in general, Fenty and Joocyee offer quite a few neutral shades because they do appeal to a very wide audience, not just people that are more alt beauty lovers like myself. The other thing I want to mention is Joocyee does have a wider range of shades than just the ones I showed. The ones I showed are some of the more colorful ones, and they come in these lavender containers. And they do have ones that are more neutral that come in yellow packaging. The formulas to me feel the same. I'm wearing one of the more neutral shades now. But just in terms of the formulas themselves, the Joocyee and the Fenty feel the most similar. There are some differences though. The Joocyee, in my opinion, have a little bit smaller sparkle particle. They feel smoother on the lips and they're unscented. The Fenty do have a sweet scent, similar to the way that, you know, pretty much all of their lip products do have a scent. So that is something to keep in mind. The price differential between the two isn't so different. The Joocyee is a few dollars cheaper than the Fenty. They're around $20, and the Fenty are closer to that $25 price range. And they're available at different retailers, of course. So you may have an easier time getting the Fenty or the Joocyee depending on where you live and what retailers are available to you. Next, we have the Kidos Glass Load Lip Melts. Very unique packaging. You have the refills that pop into the capsules in a magnetic way, and these are your iridescent kind of sparkly toppers. You can wear them by themselves, but you can also use them as layering shades, which is a really, really fun way to use these. Last but not least, we have these lip balms. These are called the Nebu bombs from Hyru Beauty. I am new to this brand, and they are a new brand in general. They just launched earlier this fall. This is their first product, and these are very unique. These are also unlike any of the other three that I've shown. The shade offering is unique. They're a little bit less glossy than the other ones, but they do have a decent wearing time, and they do feel comfortable on the lips. The sparkle is very small, and I love that they are focused on really interesting and unique shades. And I do believe that the people that have founded this brand are makeup artists, and in general, makeup artist founded brands are some of my favorite. They have the most interesting vision. They have a good understanding of color theory. So I'm very excited to see what else this brand has down the pipeline. Now that I've had a chance to talk about these 4 formulas and compare them, I would love to hear what you think. Do you enjoy seeing videos like these where we talk about several formulas and compare them just because there are so many formulas on the market? I would love to hear in the comments. As always, I hope you found this video helpful. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.